දැන් මේක පටන් ගත්තා පොඩ මට කියන්න. බලන්න.
Konnichiwa. Good morning to all of those who are joining from Sri Lanka, and good evening to all of who are joining from Japan. Education broadens our horizons and opens doors to countless opportunities. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed participants and aspiring learners, welcome to our webinar on study opportunities in Japan. I'm Pramodha Desanayake, and I'll be your moderator for this event. Through this event, we assure you that we delve into the rich academic landscape, cultural experiences, and countless possibilities that Japan offers to eager students worldwide. Let's embark on a journey of expectation and discovery as we uncover the pathways to higher education in this fascinating country. So, without further ado, I would like to invite our president, Mr. Kasunthal Gaskotua, to deliver the welcome speech.
Thank you, Ram. Hello everyone. Good morning to the participants joining from Sri Lanka, and good afternoon to the participants joining from Japan. On behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to warmly welcome our chief guest, Mr. E. Rodney Pereira, His Excellency the Ambassador of the Embassy of Sri Lanka in Japan. We are an extraordinary privilege to have His Excellency the Ambassador and staff members of the Embassy, Ms. Cesar Tambugala, Deputy Chief of Mission, Minister, Ms. Achini Pereira, Minister Councillor. And next, I would like to welcome our guest speakers, Dr. Panduga Neluvala, Director of the Sri Lanka Japan Studies Center, and Professor J. Rajasekara, Vice President of Tokyo International University. And they have a lot of experience with the study opportunities in Japan. So hence we believe that this will be a better opportunity for the today's participants. So we are encouraged by the presence of Mr. Kenji Shimboku and Mr. Akira Kawaguchi from Japan Student Service Organization, just always with Sri Lanka Student Association and give their valuable supports for our association. Next, let me welcome speakers from Sri Lanka Student Association in Japan, participants for the webinar, members and well-wishers of our association. As the president of the Sri Lanka Student Association in Japan, it's my privilege and pleasure to welcome you all to this online event, Study Opportunities in Japan. The purpose of this event is to provide the awareness about the current scholarships program in Japan and the application procedures for the students who are willing to apply from Sri Lanka. And hope this event will be a fruitful event for you all. Without taking much time, I will hand over this event to our moderator, Mr. Pramodya, Assistant Secretary of Sri Lanka Student Association in Japan, to continue with the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kasu. Today, joining with us is an esteemed personality, the Ambassador of Sri Lanka, Mr. E. Rodney M. Pereira, whose extensive experience and profound knowledge about this enchanting island nation make him the perfect guide for our program. Sir, we are honored and privileged to have you as our chief guest today. And ladies and gentlemen, please join me with a warm virtual welcome to our esteemed chief guest today, His Excellency, the Ambassador of Sri Lanka, Mr. E. Rodney M. Pereira.
So, konnichiwa, aiboan, vanakkam, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you very much. I congratulate the Student Association, Kasu, Pramodya, and the team for putting together a very important discussion on one of the most important topics that feature in the bilateral relations between Sri Lanka and Japan. Since the time I have come here now, about 8 months ago, I focused a lot of attention on knowledge. I've always talked about knowledge and innovation, things that are absolutely essential for Sri Lanka's forward progress. If we are going to get anywhere, these are the areas that will underpin our efforts. So with that, human resource development is the key aspect that enables humankind to progress in this world. And when we look at Japan, that's how they've come this far. When you look back in the history of Japan, the past 200 years, Japan was a closed country, but when they decided that it was time to open up, they sent large numbers of their people out of Japan to Europe, to America, to gain knowledge, to bring back knowledge. And of course, unlike in many countries, when people leave out, many of those Japanese did come back to Japan, and they started this incredible innovative progress that ran into so many different areas. And even though in the 20th century, they went a little bit off track in terms of using their innovation, they have turned around. And since the 50s, since the end of the Second World War, Japan has been one of the leading countries in terms of innovation, technology, you name it, they are there. So it's incumbent on Sri Lanka to really benefit from that. And when we look back at our relations with Japan, one of the key areas that started off our friendship after diplomatic relations were established in 1952 was that immediately after that, within a few years, Japan started offering scholarships for Sri Lankan students to come here. And we had several students, and I had the privilege of talking to all of them during my previous tenure in Tokyo in the 1980s. And they all had fond memories of coming to Tokyo by ship. And many of them went to Tokyo University. They studied, extremely well. They became very responsible citizens in the community in Japan, and they went on to do extremely well. And they became the bridges of our friendship that have really lasted the greater part of the last 78 years. So with that, we must appreciate the fact that Japan continues to offer us so many opportunities, and it is incumbent on us to make the best use of it. And that's why I'm so honored to be a part of this process. And I think we work very closely, the Student Association and the embassy, as well as our academics here, who are doing exceedingly well. I'm so happy to see many of them here today to impart their knowledge, their ideas on this important platform. So when we look at where we are today, you could clearly see from what happened yesterday. Yesterday was a very important day in the annals of Sri Lanka-Japan relations. We had the visit of the Japanese foreign minister who went to Sri Lanka, and this was after a lapse of 4 years. Where, during that 4-year period, I don't have to tell you, we had some friction and some unfortunate developments that sidetracked this productive relationship we have had for generations. But yesterday was very important. The foreign minister spent 2 days in Sri Lanka. He had consultations at the highest levels. And of course, many areas were discussed, but something that's extremely important to our topic today is that Japan and Sri Lanka yesterday signed a large-scale project on the JDS program, that is to get young executive officers in the public sector at various universities in Japan. And I believe we have a session to discuss the JDS program. And of course, in this, they will be offering master's and PhD programs and to cover areas such as public policy, macroeconomics, public finance, investment management, industry development policy and investment proportion, as well as urban and regional development. So these are topics of extreme relevance to Sri Lanka. And of course, there are many other opportunities that I think in our panel discussion, this will be featured. There are so many areas that we can benefit from. And also so many universities, and I'm so happy to see our academics already representing those universities. You have done extremely well in your respective fields. You are a light to us in terms of supplementing the efforts of the embassy. You carry on the flag in your respective communities. So I'm honored to acknowledge all of you present here today. I believe there's a very large gathering today we have on the Zoom link. And I think we also need to connect with more and more Japanese universities. And in my stay here in the last couple of months, for instance, I've been talking to universities such as Kanazawa University, Kochi University, Ehime, looking at whether there are programs for direct scholarships, any other local institutions, organizations, funds that could help Sri Lanka to get a few extra scholarships and training opportunities, research, leading us to have good exchange programs. And also we must try and structure programs that they are exchanges so that we get Japanese students also to go to Sri Lanka. And this is an area actively we have been discussing with some scholars here in the last month itself. Even with the foreign ministry and the education ministry, these are areas we frequently highlight to embark on programs at the undergraduate as well as the postgraduate levels, at the research level, even as lecturers, to try and have some exchanges. Because while we embark on a journey to improve our bilateral ties with Japan, we must also build up human resources for the future. And I think from my experience with Japan since the 80s, I came here as a student in 1982. From what I have seen, we still have many Japanese who visited Sri Lanka in the 60s, 70s, and the 80s, who had very fond memories, who worked very well as volunteers in many other programs in the corporate sector. We need to create the next wave of such Japanese people. And the best way to start would be to tap the universities and get more people to go to Sri Lanka. Even at the high school level, I've been talking to some programs here, get more students to go, get more volunteers. Maybe they can go and teach Japanese and learn English, things of that nature. The idea is to link people so that in the years to come, we'll have the next wave of Japanese citizens who will know about Sri Lanka and who will have fond memories of Sri Lanka, and it'll be easier for us to tap them to enhance our resource base to develop our interest. And also, I think something I've been saying in my discussions with the Student Association as well as other Sri Lanka associations is that we have a large number of Sri Lankans coming to Japan. And I believe there is a large chunk of students who come to learn the language. So we must not forget them also. We must try to reach out to them, give them the avenues available for them to upgrade their skill level rather than just learning the language and doing an odd job. We need to enhance their ability to integrate into society at a high level. And, of course, as a Sri Lankan public servant, I would love to see many people going back to Sri Lanka, or at least having some sort of connections with Sri Lanka, because we cannot have a one-way program. We need to make it two-way to the best of our abilities. So even the language schools, even the Semmon Gakkos, to make sure that they are given the tools, they are given the information to register for programs, get into universities, learning some extra special skills, maybe go on to research and become entrepreneurs, become academics, become responsible citizens. That will help the bilateral engagement between Japan and Sri Lanka. So these are my thoughts at the very introduction of this program. I thank all of you once again, the Student Association and our academic community, for joining this incredibly important program. And let's continue to work together. The embassy is, of course, ready at all times. We will go anywhere needed in Japan. We will do everything possible to connect Sri Lanka with the universities. We can get our academic community in Sri Lanka, our universities in Sri Lanka, to connect more through various departments, possibly various areas of research. So there's a lot that we can do together. And today is a very important point that we have reached in trying to connect the education link between the two countries, Japan and Sri Lanka. So thank you all once again. And I'll be all ears to go through the deliberations today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You have always been our greatest inspiration and support behind us. You and the embassy has given a tremendous support for the Sri Lanka Student Association. So thank you so much, sir. So as you said, sir, throughout the past years, there have been prominent scholars that have studied in Japan and excelled in their academics. There's this one person, and of course, from among those excelled academics, there are only a few all-rounders. Today, we are fortunate to have one such exceptional personality as our next guest speaker. He conducted his master's and PhD at the University of Tokyo during 2013 and 2018, and also the former treasurer as well as the president of Sri Lanka Student Association in 2015. Currently, he is the senior lecturer at the Department of Civil Engineering, University of Peradeniya, and the director of Sri Lanka Japan Studies Center. Is none other than Dr. Panduka Neluwala. Sir, we would like to invite you to start upon your presentation and share your thoughts with us today.
Thank you, Amadya, and His Excellency Ambassador, distinguished guest, and also all the academics who have joined today with us. First, I should congratulate SLSJ for organizing such an event, disembarking their experience and knowledge on how to, what are the study opportunities in Japan with the community of Sri Lanka. I see there are a huge number of participants who has joined. Also, if anyone cannot join through Zoom, they can join through the Facebook page. And I am, as mentioned by Pramodya, I was in Japan for 5 years at the University of Tokyo doing my master's and PhD, and also got the opportunity to serve in these associations while I was there. So I thought today actually I am speaking about the opportunities from Sri Lanka Japan Study Center. But before going to that, I thought as a member graduate from Japan, it's a little bit good to touch why it's good to study in Japan. I hope you will be having more reasons, but these are my reasons. So, number one, I think is the technology research. I think His Excellency Ambassador also mentioned about innovations. So this is some photographs taken by me and the K computer, but now Japan has the fastest computer, Fugata, a better version than the K computer. The other reason I think is the Japanese culture. So from food to clothes and even to greetings, it's I think you won't have such a experience in anywhere else in the world. So I enjoyed a lot, and also the beauty of the country. So not just the natural beauty, but the monuments there resembles me a memorable experience. Still, when I think back about my experience in Japan, I really feel like it's my second home from the Sri Lanka. Then most importantly, the people. So the hospitality we got from Japanese people is excellent. and they were helpful, kind, and even the research students, also all the professors were really guiding us throughout, and it was a remarkable experience. And not just the Japanese students, there are like students from all the international countries. So these photographs are like during my PhD. You can see we got an opportunity like to interact with international students, giving an international experience. So those are the four reasons I could thought mainly, but there are more reasons like the security, transport, public facility, and many other factors that I think it's a number one choice to study for your graduate studies. And now moving towards the Sri Lanka Japan Study Center, our mission is mainly to link or to have a sustainable research culture through Sri Lanka and Japan collaborative research. So with this vision and mission, these are our objectives like uh, academic and research cooperation, encouraging student exchange programs. I will be coming to these in the later slides. And then submission of research proposals or project grants in collaboration with Japanese universities, capacity development, research and training programs, and then linking with the universities and the research conference. So this is the most recent capacity development program conducted by the Japan Study Center with the support and guidance from JICA. So last time we had close to 500 participants join to this JICA chair program. I have happy news. The next program will commence from September. The applications will be called very soon to JICA and the Japan Study Center. So the objective of this program is to share the knowledge about Japan's development in multiple disciplines, social, economic, political, and technical aspects. So you will witness it from the schedule of the last time. So this was the second program. You can see it is covering a wide variety of programs from the social aspects, and then renewable energy, and then industries and industrial policy, public health, and then science and technology, and finally the final program was on agriculture development. And then we are doing a research conference. This is targeting with the academic community, and we have now called proposals, actually the abstracts for the 2023 research conference. And you can see the conference themes where you can submit. It's a multidisciplinary, so I think it's overlap with any disciplines you are working with. So when we take this research conference, the main theme is research, but with this research, it is linking the collaborations, because for publication, we need authors from both Japan and Sri Lanka for this conference. And it enhances the collaboration between the universities, and it's an excellent platform for networking. So I encourage the participants who are already started their research to submit an abstract for this conference. If you have not, you can join this conference to get to know the other professors who are working in Japan, Sri Lanka collaborative research. You can even identify your prospective supervisors through this conference. And then these networks will help us to get funding, also like scholarship, and to get to know about postgraduate studies and many more advantages from this research conference. So this is this is the abstract book of the last conference, and some photographs from the conference, the poster session and the main session held in few years back. Actually, due to the COVID, we could not have this conference for few years. So we are having it now after 2019 for the first time, and in October 21st, and the abstract deadline is August. So we still have a time. So I encourage all the members to use this opportunity to interact with Japanese researchers as well as Sri Lankan researchers who are working in collaborating with Japan. So in addition to the mentioned events I mentioned by so far, we are also conducting about some awareness programs similar to this event conducted by SLSJ about the postgraduate opportunities in Japan. And also we are conducting Japanese language programs. Actually, currently we don't have a program, but now we are developing a program in collaboration with the classical language of the University of Peradeniya to open it up for all the outsiders as well. So in addition to this, we are also supporting a student exchange program. For instance, we are having a session with a team from Japan. There will be 5 Japanese students visiting University of Peradeniya in September. So we are having a session to exchange ideas on with among the Japanese and Sri Lankan students on this exchange program. Similarly, I can actually recall many exchange programs as the Japanese students visiting the universities as well as our students visiting Japan. But I think there is no limit and we should use these opportunities to expand further. I think His Excellency Ambassador also mentioned that these exchange programs are very much beneficial to the community. And at Japan Study Center, we can also provide information or link to your existing exchange programs if you are interested to join. So those are the main 2 events we are doing so far, the capacity development program and the conference currently. And as I mentioned, we are also always facilitating the exchange programs and then the signing of MOUs. So we have a set of MOUs established between many universities in Japan and Sri Lanka. If I take University of Peradeniya, which is my university, we have close to 10 MOUs between the 2 countries and which facilitate the staff exchange, research and student exchange as well. And most importantly, we have many academics who are back in Sri Lanka after graduating from Japan. In University of Peradeniya, we have more than 100. So I think for sure in country there are thousands of graduates. So if you are a student in Sri Lanka who are thinking to study in Japan, and if you are wondering what are the departments you can apply, you can write to us, also to SLSJ. You can write to us and we can find a similar professor from Sri Lanka who has done his studies in Japan and he can advise you where you can apply. And I think it's a very good opportunity. And also if you are thinking to do a research and if you are already in Japan, if you want to come find some collaborators in Sri Lanka, you can also write to us. We can find a potential collaborator here. So you can do some joint research and it will be very valuable for the development of the country, as well as if you are coming back to Sri Lanka, you'll be having a research group here. So those are few key things that came to my mind, that where you can use the Sri Lanka Japan Study Center to facilitate or to enhance your career and your application to Sri Lanka to Japan. So these are our contact details and the Facebook site and the website. So I'm not taking much time because there are a lineup of presentation which are going to really share the real experience of students from various scholarship. I think it will be a huge advantage for you. So I again thank SLSJ for coming forward and disembarking this program and sharing this knowledge and opportunities for our students in Sri Lanka. So then with this, I'm winding up my presentation. Thank you. And if you have any queries, you can feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor. And we would like to thank you for the insightful thoughts that you have shared and the information, which we believe that will be very much benefit for all our participants today. So even as a professor mentioned the term JESO, which is originally termed as Japan Student Service Organization, which is renowned for its commitment to promoting international exchange and fostering education opportunities in Japan, and has played a prominent role in supporting students all over the globe. So as a premier organization, JESO has been instrumental in providing comprehensive assistance, scholarships, and valuable resources to countless students, enabling them to immerse themselves in the Japan's rich culture and world-class education. So the next speaker is Mr. Kenji Shinboku, the representative from JESO. Sir, we welcome you and your colleague, Mr. Akira Kawaguchi, for our webinar. And we are eager to learn valuable insights into the diverse study programs, scholarships, and cultural experience that awaits in Japan. どうもありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Kenji Shimboku from Japan Student Services Organization. Thank you for having me, and let me prepare for the slides. Okay. Today I will give you the basic information on studying Japan, and there are 7 topics on this presentation. Number 1, what is JASO and publication by JASO. Number 2, number of international students in Japan and why Japan. Number 3, higher education in Japan. Number 4, when and how to start planning, useful links. Number 5, exams used for studying Japan. Number 6, living costs and academic fees. Number 7, employment in Japan. In this presentation, we will introduce you to some useful websites that will help you planning to study in Japan. QR code will be displayed on the slides, so please get your QR code scanner ready or be prepared to take screenshot. Also, I'm going to add some specific information for Sri Lankan students, but please be informed this is a general information for average students all over the world. Japan Student Services Organization, or JASO, is under the jurisdiction of the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science, and Technology of Japan. Our purpose is to support students studying in higher education institutions in Japan. We also support international students by sharing information on studying in Japan, providing scholarships, as well as implementing the examination for the Japanese University Admission for International Students, or EJU. We'd like to introduce our website and our publications. First, here is the Study in Japan website. There's a variety of information for those who plan to study in Japan, those who are currently studying in Japan, and those who have completed their studying in Japan. Please scan the QR code and bookmark the page. Next, this is our publication, Studying in Japan Basic Guide. If you are interested in studying in Japan, please read this brochure first. This brochure answers basic questions about how to plan your study in Japan, cost of living, scholarships, and more. You can download the PDF from this QR code, so please take a look. And just in case, I would like to mention that we currently publish this guide in 14 languages. Here's another publication. This is a brochure, Scholarship for International Students in Japan. This brochure contains information on over 100 scholarship programs for those who wish to study in Japan. You can also obtain the English version of the PDF from this QR code. Now you can see the number of international students in Japan as of May 1st, 2022. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the number of international students in Japan has decreased. But there are still a total of over 230,000 students from more than 180 countries and regions. You can see Sri Lankan students were 3,857. And this number is the 7th largest. Just for your information, the largest number is from China, the second is Vietnam, and the third is Nepal. Now let me introduce some further details of Sri Lankan students. This slide shows you the breakdown by institutional type. You can see from the table that about 80% of Sri Lankan students are studying in professional training colleges or Japanese language institutes. In fact, from 2020 to 2021, the number of Sri Lankan students in Japan was decreased because of COVID-19, but began to increase in 2022. Generally, people from graduates from Japanese language schools go on to professional training college or university. In addition, many of those who graduate from professional training colleges find employment in Japan. Especially since many Sri Lankans stay in Japan after completing their higher education in Japan, the number of Sri Lankans in Japan is expected to increase in the future. This pie chart shows you the breakdown of my major field of study. You can see more than 1/3 of Sri Lankan students study social science. The second largest is engineering. In addition, as I said, many students belong to professional training colleges, and for social science field, large number of students study commerce, IT business, and tourism. For engineering, many students study car maintenance and information technology. Now I'd like to mention 4 points of benefits of study in Japan. First, Japan provides a world-class science and technology learning environment, which also produced a number of Nobel laureates in the last 10 years in various scientific fields such as physics, biology, medical, chemistry, and so on. Second, Japan also has an international environment. In Japan, there are a lot of international students from various countries and regions. While you pursue your studying in Japan, you will be able to enjoy an international learning environment. Third is affordable academic fees. For example, the tuition fees for Japanese national or local public universities are about $4,000 per year, and this is 1/3 of those of American public universities. Fourth, employment opportunities for international students. Every year, more and more international students succeed in getting employed in Japan after graduating from Japanese higher education institutions. Also, a variety of programs such as job fairs and internships have been implemented to support international students find employment in Japan. In addition to the 4 points, let me introduce one more. Japan is a place where traditional culture coexists with pop culture, where their ceremonies, kabuki, judo, and so on coexist with manga and animation. You can also enjoy the ever-changing sceneries of nature. Here are some photos of Japan. It is a land blessed with 4 seasons, as well as beautiful traditional culture, giving birth to unique food, traditional practices and sceneries, and so on. The wisdom and culture that stem from the uniqueness of each area, the comfort of time, warmth of the people, are some things from those regions that you will not find in big cities. Studying in Japan will provide you with many opportunities to learn more about diverse regional charms. Now I will introduce you the higher education system. In Japan, higher education starts after completing 12 years of formal education, 6 years of elementary school, followed by 6 years of secondary education, divided into 3 years of lower secondary and 3 years upper secondary school. Japanese higher education institutions that accept international students are universities for graduate and graduate schools, junior colleges, professional training colleges, and College of Technology called KOSEM. In addition to these 5 institutions of higher education, Japanese language institutions also accept international students, and many of them go on to Japanese university or professional training colleges from there. This pie chart shows the number of universities in Japan. There are 807 universities for undergraduate, including 657 graduate schools. In the universities, 187 are national or public, while the rest of 620 are private. In addition to these universities, there are about 300 junior colleges and more than 2,700 professional training colleges. In graduate schools of universities, most international students major in humanities, social science, and engineering. In professional training colleges, the most popular courses are animation, design, and fashion. This table shows the degrees available at Japanese higher education institutions. Depending on your purpose of study, please consider which type of school you would like to study in Japan. The next topic is when and how to start planning for studying in Japan. Considering the general schedule, you had better to start planning 1 year before your departure. To begin with planning to study in Japan, gather information at first. Maybe at this point, many questions may come to your mind. What is my goal of studying Japan? How much will it cost for tuition fees and living expenses? Are there any scholarships available to apply? You can find the answers to these questions on the Study in Japan website. Then, look for Japanese schools and gather information on the school's application requirements, such as completion of at least 12 years of formal education or passing of any required examinations. Other requirements also include language proficiency and high school result. If you can contact the school you are applying, it is best to ask the school directly. If not, I will introduce you a few websites that will help you find schools. First, the school search on the Study in Japan website. There, you can search for schools by specifying your desired field of study, etc. This allows you to search for courses conducted in English, for example. In addition to the Study in Japan website, there are other websites to search for schools. One is JPSS, which can also search for professional training colleges as well as universities. For those who want to study in Japan in the graduate schools, there's a website, ResearchMap. This website has the largest database on research institutions and researchers in Japan. You can browse researchers' names, papers, oral presentations, and research results. Even if you do not know the name of the Japanese researcher, you can search by the name of your field of study. These websites are very useful, but once you have found the schools, please visit the school website and send them an email to get the latest information. The next topic is about examination used for studying in Japan. First of all, I'd like to introduce EJU, which is conducted by JASO. First, EJU is an academic achievement test that evaluates an international student's Japanese proficiency and academic abilities. Second, EJUs are held not only in Japan, but also in other countries and regions, mainly in Asia. Sri Lanka has been one of the venues since 2006. And third, the result of EJU is used as an entrance examination by many Japanese universities. Overall, about half of all universities use the EJU, while about 90% of national universities use it. When applying for undergraduate universities, you will find that many universities, especially national universities, will ask for your EJU result. EJU has 4 subjects: Japanese as a foreign language, science, Japan the world, and mathematics. Japan the world is an EJU exclusive subject that measures students on high school level knowledge of politics, economics, geography, and world history. Past exam questions are available on JASO website. If you'd like to see the questions, please scan this QR code. EJU is held twice a year, in June and in November. Unfortunately, application for the second session of this year's EJU just closed on last Friday. Regarding the venue, EJU is available at 17 locations outside of Japan. In Sri Lanka, the venue this year is the Sri Lanka Japan Cultural Center in Colombo. For more information on EJU, You can head over to JASO's website through the link or QR code on your screen. Here's the information about the test related to Japanese proficiency. Although an increasing number of Japanese universities offer classes in English, many universities, especially undergraduate courses, conduct classes in Japanese. The same applies to the professional training colleges. Generally, to enter a Japanese university or professional training college, students must have Japanese language proficiency of N1 or N2 level of JLPT. To ensure sufficient Japanese language skills, international students would usually study the language in a Japanese language institute first before entering into a Japanese higher education institutions. For graduate schools, there are indeed courses conducted in English. But if you are aiming for courses that are conducted in Japanese, you would be required to first and foremost have specialized knowledge of your research field, and also at least JLPT N1 level of Japanese language proficiency. If you are taking EJU, that would be equivalent to around 200 to 250 points for the Japanese as a foreign language subject. To apply for English medium courses, you will need to have a certain amount of English language proficiency. In general, applicants for English taught courses are expected to have TOEFL IBT of 71 to 75 or IELTS band score of 5.5 to 6. Of course, the required scores can vary, so do check with your desired university or school for their own requirement. Now, the next topic is the living cost and academic fees of studying in Japan. This data is from JASO survey reported in 2021. The national average of international students' expenses in Japan is a total of $666 per month. This pie chart breaks down the expenses. Also, international students with permission to engage in activities outside of the status of residence can work part-time for up to 28 hours per week. Currently, 70% of the international students in Japan hold a part-time jobs and earns an average of $422 per month. Here's an example of an average cost for the tuition fees for the first year of schooling in Japan. As I said earlier, the tuition fees of Japanese universities are lower compared to American universities. Please also take note that in the first year, students will also have to pay other fees such as entrance fees. These tuition fees for private universities and professional training colleges can vary quite a lot depending on your courses and major, hence the range of the tuition fees. Still keep in mind that some schools also offer tuition reduction or exemptions. You can use the Search for School on the Studying in Japan website to find universities that offer tuition fee reduction or exemption and scholarships. The last topic is the employment situation of international students after completing their study in Japan. As you can see from this graph, the number of individuals who have changed from international students to working visa in Japan has slightly declined in the last 2 years because of COVID-19 pandemic. However, the number of foreigners entering Japan after March 2022 continues to increase. So the number of people working in Japan is expected to rise again. As I mentioned earlier, job fairs for international students and career support at universities are more extensive than before. Make the most of these opportunities to find the job of your choice. Before closing my presentation, I'd like to inform you an event organized by JASO, which is Study in Japan Virtual Fair in August and September. You can talk with staff and students of the participating universities and schools and gather information along with scholarships. I hope this virtual fair will be helpful for you to create images for your study in Japan. You will find more details soon on the Study in Japan website, so please check for further information later. This is the end of my presentation. You can find further details as well as JASO's contact information on the Study in Japan website. Thank you for your time and attention.
Shimboku-san, どうもありがとうございました。お疲れ様でした。Thank you so much, Mr. Shimboku, I'm sorry, for your insightful information about JASO and the wide range of variety of scholarships and opportunities that JASO will open to the students. So the next speaker, if I to introduce the next speaker and his title, it will take a lot of time. If I to just mention the most recent one, he's the director of the Matsushita Library and Information Center and former dean of the Graduate School of International Business at International University of Japan, and currently the vice president of the Tokyo International University. But I would like to introduce him as in another way, where like today we have these options of Zoom, internet, Facebook Messenger, and all those kind of internet messages. So this distinguished personality is the initiator of this internet, where you know that internet goes through underwater optic fiber cables. So this person holds the patent for the world's first internet message and the patent for the algorithm for the world's first optic undersea cable. So it's him, none other than Professor J. Rajasekara. Professor, we would like to hear from you in this event.
Thank you so much, Promo. It's a great honor for me to be here in this session. Can you all hear me well?
Yes, sir, you're audible enough.
Okay, all right. So let me also thank all the other previous the speakers, starting with your team, Mr. Kasun, and you yourself, and then the Honorable Ambassador, and then Mr. Panduka, and our distinguished guest from JASO. And I think all of you explained about how great it is to study in Japan. And so as one of the universities receiving largest number of Japanese Sri Lankan students in Japan, I like to give a short introduction about our university and why you should come to our university, or why we welcome you in our university. So may I share my slides now?
Sure, sir. You can share this.
Yeah. Right. Can everyone see? No. So
yeah, it can be seen.
This is very short. So today I'm going to talk about our university. I assume, Promo, is the sound okay now?
The sound is audible, sir.
Sound is audible. Okay, good. Thank you so much, everyone again, for organizing this event, and also the Honorable Ambassador and Dr. Panduka and JASO representatives. So I will talk about the TIU, or Tokyo International University, and but I also share my own experience by having been in Japan a long time and having a lot of Japanese Sri Lankan students talking with me and guiding them, etc. So this is where I am right now. In fact, in this campus, I'm right here in somewhere on the top floor of this building. That's where I'm talking to you right now. So this is our campus 1. And so this is our campus 2, which has many dormitories and also some teaching facilities. And we have campus 3, we call Osakado campus, which is mostly for sports. And the 4th campus is right here in Tokyo, in central Tokyo, in Ikebukuro, and it will be, in fact, open next Tuesday. And so this is not open yet, but my office will move here, from next Tuesday, and I'll be somewhere here in this building. And we also have a campus in the US, United States, and called TIU America. So, the good thing if you come to TIU to study is, you can also transfer to that university in the United States. So to begin with our university a little bit, we are kind of a mid-sized university and having 6,500 students from Japanese students. And we also have a good number of foreign students. And we offer various Japanese programs. There are many, but these are the ones offered in English. We have 5 undergraduate programs and 4 graduate programs. And our school has nationalities currently represented by 75 countries, and we have a growing number of international students, and it has increased, since I arrived here. And I was in fact teaching in the university where Promo and is studying right now in International University of Japan. And so we have large number of foreign faculty also teaching in this program called eTrack. So I'll give you the email, the URL or the internet access, etc. When I get to the close of the session. So we also has some rankings and other things, and we are a good university, I believe, and our ranking is going up. We raise our quality, by hiring very prominent faculty from around the world and from good schools from around the world. So our school, I think the quality has improved drastically, and this is This is the Sri Lankan students. We have about 70 students, I believe. Right now, they are celebrating the Sri Lankan New Year in April by the river here, not too far from where I'm sitting right now. This is only a part of the students, I think. And some of you may know, some of these students, and including Miss Sri Lanka is in TIU. And so we have good programs in English, and these are completely in English. But we offer also the opportunity for you to learn Japanese. And when you first come here, you learn some Japanese, basic Japanese. But during the time, if you study either 4-year undergraduate or 2-year master's or maybe 3 or 4-year PhD, and you can learn Japanese, quite well. And through the school you can pick up, and then by doing various things in the community, you can learn. So we have one program popular among foreign students is the business economics program. And so they focus on various areas in international business, in management, economics, finance, etc. We have good professors, and you see me also here on the courtyard. And I came here, in fact, to start the program on digital business. It's one of the first programs dedicated completely to digital technology and business, undergraduate, masters, and PhD. And so these are some photos we have taken on the campus. So we also have a program on international relations, and they offer, by the way, I mentioned 3 programs. There are some other programs too, economics, etc. too, and all these programs offer opportunities for students, undergraduate, masters, or PhD. And we have good international relations program too. I heard from some of the faculty that Sri Lankan students who enter our university are doing well, because we attract students from the top schools in Sri Lanka. And so we have programs with them, and I will explain them as I go. And so we provide an excellent learning environment and facilities like the Learning Plaza. And in fact, in the new campus, we have a complete big area for learning. and it's right in the heart of Tokyo. And you can also, see the businesses and various things happening in Japan, happening right there. And so it's just, even without a school, just being there, you can learn a lot, that the Honorable Ambassador mentioned, that you can learn and maybe go back or whatever, contribute to the society. And so this is the purpose of a school, and training people to contribute to their countries and the societies where whatever they do. And so we have intensive Japanese language programs also. And we also have something called the Model United Nations. In Japan, I think the TIU, I was told, has won most awards in this Model UNU. We call it a club, the Modern UNU Club. And they have won many awards according to the professor who is in charge of this one. And so this brings in a lot of people, from around the world to be in touch with the students. So this is another key opportunity, while studying in TIU. And so we also support students to study here. Airport pickups, medical emergency, housing information, visa, and various other things. And we also have something called a career center, and which helps students to get the working visas or whatever, the training visas, etc. And so these are the dormitory facilities, and they are fully furnished. And so we, I think, allow, or we kind of, it's maybe necessary for all the first year students to stay in these dormitories just 1 year, okay, and then you move. And in fact, we have campuses in the central camp. The new campus is in Tokyo. That area may be a little bit expensive, but the campus I'm right now here is a little bit outside Tokyo suburb, and it is cheaper. And so this is the career services, one-to-one career counseling, career guidance, and the job hunting seminars, and on-campus career fairs. And I was told about 120 companies come, to the campus, and because we have large number of Japanese students also. And so they find jobs through these facilities. So if you come here to TIU, and I suggest all of you who are in Sri Lanka and wanted to come to Japan, and please study a little bit Japanese. That helps you, to get around, and also, to find maybe jobs. I used to tell all my students, even here and also in IUJ, just learn how to speak 5 minutes of good Japanese. That will get you any job in Japan. Even though, they say that you need N2 or whatever, you just speak good, fluent Japanese 5 minutes, and so I myself, I came to Japan without going to any school. I didn't know any Japanese to speak, and I learned all of them myself. And once I gave a lecture, 2-hour lecture in Niigata University to professors in Japanese. And so without taking any class. And so I in my own, the experience, I tell students, you need only, now that learning Japanese is much easier than before, because you have mobile phones, and all these things are there now, YouTube, Google Translate. So I suggest my students, you need only 3 apps to learn Japanese. You can do yourself, and if somebody write to me, I'll tell you those 3 apps. And that's what even now I do, I learn kanji, using those. So this we provide these career services, and career services people also told me, if the students knows little bit Japanese, they can find job easily. Okay, And sorry, my mouse is doing something crazy. Here. Yeah. So in our school, the tuition, and so our annual average tuition is about $12,000, and so this is in fact, the much reasonable, and the Mr. Shimabuku mentioned, that the Japanese schools tuition is quite cheap, particularly compared to United States. But I'll show you in a moment that Japan provides the cheapest. Our school provides the cheapest compared to other countries, and because we also give a lot of scholarships, and we have large number of Sri Lankan students coming because we provide large number of partial or full tuition scholarships. And so if you get 30% discount, your average will be $10,000. Then it goes down, reduced as here. But we give good scholarships to top students, from the good schools. And you must get a recommendation from your school. I visited, in fact, some of the schools in Sri Lanka, the top schools, and so we get students from them. The top schools in high schools in Sri Lanka for undergraduate program. But we also get in the JICA students, and other students for graduate programs. And so if you look up this one, and this only with $3,000 average. Okay. So this one you can beat. And if you are smart, in Sri Lanka, and I know there are so many smart students there, and so this is a great opportunity. And so this is about 1 million rupees. When I converted this morning. And it's about 1 million Sri Lankan rupees. And so the average tuition in TIU, compared to these countries, is without any tuition reduction. And it is compared to average tuitions in New Zealand, UK, Singapore, Hong Kong, USA, etc. And their tuition has gone up dramatically. In the United States, the education inflation is about 12%. So be ready, to pay, every year 12% more if you go to a US school. And so the average, the living costs in Japan, in TIU, is about this much. And they compared to Singapore, Hong Kong, maybe a little bit expensive. But recently, Singapore has become one of the most expensive countries to live, rent, so this may be different now. And and if you look up the average annual total, and in TIU, the total comes to be the lowest. This is the average, okay, and tuition plus living costs, and the lowest among all these countries. So So if any of you thinking going overseas, I believe, that Japan is a good place, and also TIU is a good place. And also the TIU is located in the heart of Tokyo and the suburbs. So there are a lot of job opportunities, part-time opportunities to work here. And so a lot of students, Once I asked my students in my class, that has many students from various countries, how many of you do part-time work? More than half of them raise their hand, and they work in the various things, and that opportunity is here. Okay. And so these are the admission deadline. The deadlines, if you're thinking applying for next year, September 6th is application deadline, and then for the second intake and the third intake in October. And so you can follow them. I'll show you the URL, for for you to look at. Okay, And also if you look up the September intake, and you can start applying in October or January, and you have more time to prepare. And so you can prepare the documents. And I suggest that those who are thinking about applying to TIU, please do a good job in the application. Please don't use Chat GPT and all those things to write your study plan, and do your own thing, because the admission office check these things for plagiarism. And if they find it, so that is a very, very short no answer for them not to be admitted. So don't make their life easy, so you do a good job and write a good one. Okay. And our school is located here in the heart of Tokyo. And sorry.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think we're not seeing the visuals properly.
Oh, really? You're not seeing?
TIU tuitions and fees slide.
Oh, really? Oh, you didn't see it?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay, let me show you again.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. This is the... can you see now?
No, sir. It's still will be frozen from the TIU tuition and fees slide.
Oh, really? You cannot see anything?
And we can only see that particular slide, sir.
Oh, this one. This one you cannot see, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what can I say? Okay, let me...
If you could...
let me...
escape.
Let us do something here. Yeah, how about now? Can you see these slides? Sometimes this...
Yes, it's possible now.
Can you see?
We can see it, sir. Yeah. Well,
now, right?
That was the slide which was frozen. From there onwards, if it's possible, just to sum it up, that would be very much appreciated, sir. Thank you.
This one now you can see, right?
Yeah, we could see. That slide was the frozen slide, sir. After that, we couldn't see any slide further.
You could see, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this one, and then this one also regarding the tuition. And this one. Yeah, this one. This slide with the tuition discounts,
Yes,
and you see the tuition go down, and if you get the 100% discount, and then you pay only like $3,000 some. This is probably one of the cheapest you can find anywhere in the world, maybe. And if you can get, and we do give, in fact, this kind of scholarships to many students from top schools. So the school has to recommend you, right? So let me put this in full format again. And, sorry. I'm sorry about this.
So I believe like even this we would be enough because we could clearly see the visuals.
Yeah. Now I'm back in full.
Okay. Sure.
This one okay, right?
Yeah.
You can see them, right? So the average living costs, and this is the average living cost in TIU versus the other countries. You can see this, right?
Yes, sir. Visuals are clear now.
Okay, good. And these are the admission intake, the dates that you should follow. And for those who want to come in April, and you can apply by September 6th or by October 25th. And those who want to come here in September 24, and these are the intake days, right? And And so that's about it, I want to say. And so I think my time may be up too, right? So that's all I want to say. If I have a little bit of time, I can show you a little bit more about our program. And so you can use this link, tiu.ac.jp/eTrack. That E stands for English. So we have eTrack and JTrack. So eTrack, is the one, you can apply. Of course, JTrack also accepts students, those who can speak who are good in Japanese. Okay, so if you want to apply, then you follow the most of the courses in Japanese language. And this one, you can follow entire program in English, right? So thank you so much. And with that, I will stop and share, some of the places we have in the campus. And we also are one of the maybe the only university who has connections with the Silicon Valley and India. And for IT, program we have, and they have set up some labs here in our campus, and doing this kind of research. And also, some of our students, and won some award recently on AI and competition. And so that's about it. So I thank you very much, for the time. And I think we just stop here, right? No Q&A, right?
Yeah. The Q&A session will be held at the end of the session, sir. So
End of the session.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. We are honored to have you today, and thank you for the in-depth presentation on TIU and about the opportunities which the university offers. So it's time for us to move on with the agenda, and next we're gonna start off with the scholarship opportunities. We're starting off with the first scholarship opportunity, which is the MEC scholarship, also known as Momboshu. So Ms. Piumi Silva will be presenting about the MEC scholarship. When talking about Ms. Piumi Silva, she has the bachelor's degree in agribusiness management in University of Ruhuna, and currently she is studying for Masters of Agriculture and Resource Economics in the University of Tokyo in Graduate School of Agriculture and Life Science. So Ms. Piumi Silva.
Am I audible, and can you see the slides?
Yeah, you're audible and we could see the visuals.
Okay. Well, dear distinguished guests and participants, blissful day. I am Piumi Silva. I'm a research student of Graduate School of Agricultural and Life Sciences, the University of Tokyo. Can I continue?
Of course, Ms. Piumi.
Yeah. And I succeeded in securing the MEC scholarship via embassy recommendation route 2022-2023. So in this presentation, I'm going to focus about how to secure the MEC scholarship via the embassy recommendation route. So let's dive into the presentation. MEC scholarship, also known as Mombuka Gakusho scholarship, is offered by the Japanese government, by the Japanese Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology. MEC scholarship is comprised of undergraduate, master's and PhD opportunities. To secure the MEC scholarship, you have two parts. One is university recommendation route and the other is embassy recommendation route. In this presentation, we are going to dive deeper on how to secure the scholarship via the embassy recommendation route. So in the embassy recommendation, there is a quota of annual scholarships that are allocated to selected countries. This amount, the quota, depends on the diplomatic relationships between Japan and the selected countries. In Sri Lanka, the quota is usually varying from year to year. It's usually 6 to 8. In 2022, there were 8 MEC scholars, and I was lucky and I'm truly grateful to be one of them. The application process of MEC scholarship embassy recommendation route is managed by the Japan Embassy of Sri Lanka and the Ministry of Higher Education. Moving on to the benefits of the scholarship. MEC scholars are fully exempted by tuition fees, admission fees, or whatsoever fees that will be incurred in academics will be borne by the Japanese government. Also, MEC scholars will be paid a living stipend of 147,000 yen per month. Based on my experience, I think that this is truly a genuine amount that allows you to live and study in Japan comfortably. This 147,000 yen per month is usually the amount a master's student get. This amount can vary based on your degree, whether it's bachelor's or master's or PhD. And also for MEC scholars, it is easy to extend the scholarship. As an example, if you manage to get the master's scholarship via the MEC scholarship, you can easily extend it to the PhD. And also, MEC scholarship covers the air tickets, your air ticket from the home country to Japan to start your postgraduate studies, and also your return ticket back to home country after completing your studies in Japan. Moving on to the eligibility criteria for postgraduate students, I mentioned here the requirements for the master's program and also the additional requirements for doctoral program. In order to apply for the master's program, you need to have completed 16 years of education, including at least 3 years of university education. You are required to be serving in public or private sector under permanent cadre. And also, if you are working in a public or private sectorial university as a temporary assistant lecturer or a temporary demonstrator, you also can apply for the MEC scholarship, even though it's not under the permanent cadre. And as additional requirements for doctoral program, when you're applying for PhD, you need to have a degree equivalent to master's degree, and also you need to have direct involvement on research studies. Having research skills and having publications would certainly give you a competitive edge when you're applying for the doctoral program. And in degrees like medicine or veterinary sciences, there could be some additional requirements as well. So please refer to the MEC website on that. So let's move on to the application process. In Sri Lanka, usually the application process will open in April or May. It will be published in the website of Ministry of Higher Education under local scholarships. You can easily apply online. Then the first screening or primary screening will be conducted in July. The first screening is comprised of a written paper, English and Japanese MCQ paper, and then the shortlisted candidates will be called for an interview. In the interview, it is necessary to have a research plan or a proposal to present to the panel. If you manage to get through the primary screening or the first screening, it means you almost have succeeded in getting this scholarship. After getting through the primary screening, you will get all the information from the embassy, and they will send a list of universities accepting MEC scholars. You can shortlist the universities from that list, and you can apply the universities and start contacting the universities and professors you'd like to work with and ask them for provincial acceptance letters, also known as letters of acceptances via email. I need to highlight the fact that we need to contact the universities and professors by ourselves, and embassy will not be assisting us to obtain the letters of acceptances. But as you have already got through the primary screening, it means now you have funding to study in Japan. So professors and universities in Japan will definitely be willing to accept you. And then by the end of the August, you have to submit 3 letters of acceptances. This can be 2 letters of acceptances as well. You have received from universities and professors. You can rank the universities based on your preference. From October till January, second screening will be conducted. This is just an administrative process where the Japanese government places you in universities and plan your arrival to Japan to start your postgraduate studies. In January or February, you will get the final results. I have to highlight the following facts here. In the first screening, you have a Japanese MCQ paper, but it is not mandatory to be proficient in Japanese. But of course, if you are proficient in Japanese, it certainly will give you the competitive edge. And once you come to Japan, life will be very much easier for you if you are proficient in Japanese. But even if you are not, it won't stop you from getting the scholarship. And also, after the notification of results, you can arrive in Japan for your postgraduate studies in April or October. Once you arrive in Japan, you will enroll to the university as a research student. Your first 6 months in Japan, you have to prepare for the entrance exam and also can get your Japanese preparatory education started. Once you get through the entrance exam, you can enroll as a regular student. So this is the application process of the MEXT embassy recommendation route. Moving on. For those who are interested in applying, always check the websites of Embassy of Japan in Sri Lanka and also the Ministry of Higher Education websites, because they will be publishing the latest updates and specific guidelines applicable in the scholarship. And also, as I priorly mentioned, Japanese knowledge will truly be beneficial for you if you are willing to study in Japan, but it is not mandatory. It should not be something that held you back from applying to this scholarship. And also, you need a solid, well-written research proposal to convince the interviewing panel to get through the primary screening, and also to convince the professors and the universities to give you a letter of acceptance. And also, it will surely be advantageous if you can priorly contact the university professors before the primary screening. And of course, after arriving at Japan, you are enrolling as a research student or as a non-regular student. And after coming here, after 6 months, you will have to face the entrance exam. And then after passing the entrance exam, you'll be getting the opportunity to enroll as a regular master's student or a regular PhD student. Here I have mentioned the documents to submit for MEXT scholarship: degree certificate, academic transcript, personal statement. The personal statement is not mandatory, but in my case, I had to submit it, so I mentioned it here. And publications. If you're applying for your master's scholarship, if you're trying to get a master's scholarship, publications will not be mandatory. But when you're applying for PhD opportunities, having publications will certainly add more value to you as a candidate and increase your values of getting chosen as a MEXT scholar. And also letters of recommendation from professors, abstract of your undergraduate thesis or your master's thesis, TOEFL or IELTS score. In order to secure the MEXT scholarship, it is not mandatory for you to submit the TOEFL scores. But after coming to Japan, when you are enrolling as a regular student, you need to submit these English proficiency scores if your master's or the PhD program is conducted in English. In my case, in University of Tokyo accepts TOEFL scores, while in many universities in Japan accepts IELTS scores. And also, to sum up, letter of recommendation by employers and service letter from your employers. So for more information, you can always visit the Ministry of Higher Education website and the website of Embassy of Japan in Sri Lanka, which will update latest information about the MEXT scholarship embassy recommendation. So that's about it. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask all those in the Q&A session. And thank you for this opportunity, and hope you all have a nice day.
Thank you, Ms. Piyumi, for that in-detail description and the presentation on the MEXT scholarship. So next, we are moving on with the other part of the MEXT scholarship, which is called the MEXT University recommendation scholarship. So it'll be presented by Mr. Utpala Kaushalya. Mr. Utpala Kaushalya had his bachelor's degree in engineering, specialized in civil engineering from the University of Peradeniya. And also he has worked as a temporary staff member in the University of Peradeniya. Now, currently he's conducting the master's degree program at Graduate School of Engineering, Hokkaido University. So Mr. Utpala.
Okay, I hope you can see and hear me.
Of course, you're audible and visuals are clear.
Okay, so dear distinguished guests and participants, and good morning to those who are participating from Sri Lanka, and good afternoon to those who are participating from Japan. And thank you very much for this opportunity. And I'm Utpala Kaushalya. I will be explaining about the university recommendation track of the Japanese government scholarship, in other words, the MEX scholarship. Sorry. Well, first, before moving on to the content, so I will just briefly introduce myself. So I'm Utpala Kaushalya, and I'm Masters of Engineering candidate in my first year of the master's program in Division of Environmental Engineering at Hokkaido University. And my research is related to the biological wastewater treatment systems. And I'm a recipient of the University Recommendation MEX Scholarship under the subcategory of the Global Leadership Program for Cold Region Engineering. And as Pramod mentioned, I graduated from University of Peradeniya and worked as a temporary instructor for 2 years before coming to Japan. So let's move on to the today's content. So, I will briefly introduce what is the MEX scholarship. So MEX stands for the Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology in Japan. And it is one of the most prestigious scholarships offered by the government of Japan. Most importantly, there are almost no conditions you have to definitely go back to Sri Lanka or just work in Japan or something. So there are no conditions. And there are two main categories. First one was the embassy recommendation, which you heard a short while ago. And I will be explaining about the university recommendation track. And the benefits, I will be reciting it again. So you will be given a full tuition fee waiver for the master's. It is for 2 years. For PhD, it is for 3 years. Unfortunately, the MEX university recommendation is not available for undergraduate programs. And you will be given a monthly stipend of 144,000 Japanese yen for masters and 145,000 Japanese yen for PhD. So there can be slight variations depending on the region. For an example, within the Tokyo area or maybe the northern Japan, so they will add some maybe 3,000 or 4,000 yen additionally into the scholarship. And the application and admission fee waiver or reimbursement is given. And you will be provided arrival and return air tickets for the international flights and also the medical insurance. So you will have to pay a very little amount of medical insurance, which can be paid after coming. And also almost 70% of your medical expenses will be covered by the insurance. And let me introduce what are the requirements for the application. You must not be a Japanese citizen, obviously. You have to reside outside of Japan, and those who are currently enrolled in Japan's university are not eligible to apply for the scholarship. If you are applying for the master's degree, you have to have a bachelor's degree not less than 3 years or equivalent by the time of enrollment. And also you have to have at least 16 years of education, including primary education, secondary education, and university education. If you're applying for a PhD, you have to have a master's degree or equivalent. And you have to be less than 35 years old. And you have to have excellent academic record. Usually they require a GPA of 3.0 out of 4. That depends on the university, maybe this is the general case. And you have to be proficient in English if you are applying for an English taught degree program. You can always submit a medium of instruction certificate that states if your university bachelor's degree or the master's degree program has been conducted fully in English medium. But submitting standard test score like TOEFL or IELTS would be preferred. So there are some other requirements. So it varies from the university. So you have to check the university website for the program specific requirement. For an example, I have given the next scholarship in the subcategory of the whole region engineering. So I have to follow a compulsory intensive course after coming, which related to the design of architectural and design things in northern Japan. So it is my program specific requirement. Other than that, like it is the general requirement. So let's talk about the application process. It is quite different from like the previous presentation, like embassy recommendation. It does not involve like basic enrollment in from the Japanese embassy. Usually the application period falls between September to December each year for the following year autumn intake. For an example, if you are applying during 2023 September-December period, you will be enrolled in 2024 October intake. So first, you have to find a university that offers a relevant degree program of your interest and the next scholarship. So for an start, you can do a simple Google search. So as shown in this photo, so you can see which universities host the program of interest, and also you can always inquire alumni or your supervisors who has graduated from a Japanese university. So then you have to find a university which offered the your degree program, and you have to visit the university homepage or the program homepage. All of these universities have the scholarship or funding section in their web pages. So if the program or the university offers them a scholarship, like in this second picture, you could see that the scholarship and support section, you can see the Japanese government scholarship. So if it is available, you are good to go. And then each university website or that scholarship page has an application guideline. Guidelines are usually almost the same for all the universities, but there can be difference in sequence and procedures of the scholarships. So you have to carefully read through the application guidelines. And then you have to select one or more prospective supervisors. In this case, some universities require prior contacting of professors and getting their consent as an application requirement. Some do not require prior contacting of professors. In my case, for the Hokkaido University, it is not mandated to do contact a supervisor. But my recommendation is, it is better if you can contact a supervisor beforehand. Before contacting a supervisor, please carefully go through the research work by the professor and check whether it really suits your interest. And you have to then prepare the application documents. Usually, all of the details of the required application documents are stated in the application guideline itself. And then you have to submit online, or sometimes you have to post them before the deadline. Usually, late submissions are not entertained. And sometimes you have to pay an application fee, which will be reimbursed later. So for my case, I didn't have to pay any application fee, but it depends on the university. So the timeline, it slightly varies with the university, but in general, you can see within September, December, you will submit the application, and you will be getting the results of first screening in January to February the following year. And if you have been successful through the first screening, they will call you for the second screening, which is an interview. You may have to submit some additional documents if you have selected for the second interview, like very simple documents, maybe in February. By the end of March, the university will inform you whether you will be or you will not be nominated for the next scholarship. And like if you are successful in this nomination results announcement, there is a high possibility that you can secure the scholarship. So in the June or July, you will be informed about the final confirmation of your scholarship by the Japanese government. And after that, you can apply for the visa and you can come to Japan. You will be directly enrolled as a regular student. You no need to work as research students or like non-regular students. You will be directly enrolled as a regular student for your master's or PhD program. And let me go through some of the what are the important documents required for application. The most important document is the motivation to apply and the research proposal. Usually it is like around 2 pages. It is better to be relevant to your prospective supervisor because they will select, if you don't contact your professor, they will read through your research proposal, and if your research proposal suits the professor's area, only he will accept you. And it should be organized, concise, and clear. And you have to submit some abstract of your graduation thesis and publications if applicable. And academic transcripts, of course. For the master's students, you have to submit a bachelor's transcript. For PhD students, both bachelor's and master's transcripts are required. If they are not in English, you have to get the translation from your university or a public notary. And you have to submit a degree certificate and 2 recommendation letters from your supervisor, better to be from academic area. And you have to submit the English proficiency certificates. In the case of IELTS or TOEFL, sometimes the university will ask you to send your test results through the official test center. That means, for an example, the IELTS will be conducted by British Council or IDP. You have to contact them and ask them to send your English results to the university. That also, this step also depends on the university to university, but it can be a important document that you have to consider. And also copy of a passport. In case you were selected for from the interviews, there may be additional documents that you have to be submitted. First one is the pledge. So you have to agree that you will not withdraw your enrollment if you will be selected for the scholarship. And you have to submit sometimes official ranking certificate from the university. Sometimes it is not mandatory, but this is better if you can submit. This is one of the main document, the recommendation letter by the head of your university. It should be a dean or higher official. So you have to submit this recommendation letter in addition to the recommendation letters. So you may have to post the hard copies of your application documents by post. I would advise use a reliable postage service with a tracking number such as DHL or EMS by Sri Lanka Post. So I would like to emphasize some important things when you apply. If you are already if you are still pursuing your master's or bachelor's degree, please keep a good academic record, because if you have good GPA, your application will be more strong. So do not apply for the MEX scholarship through 2 or more different universities or programs, because if you do so, you will lose both the opportunities. It is a very important thing. Only carefully select only one university and apply for the MEX scholarship through your university. If you have already applied 2 universities, you can withdraw one from one university before they nominate you to the Japanese government. Contact the prospective supervisor well ahead and establish a good communication. That really worked on me. So that is because I contacted my supervisor well ahead, and from my experience, I can tell you, even if it is not necessary, please contact the supervisor and establish a good communication. And take your time and prepare a good research proposal. Get the ideas or suggestions from that prospective supervisor for your research proposal. And also you have to obtain a good English proficiency test results from a standardized test. Again, the medium of instruction certificate is fine, but if you can submit English test score, your application would be, the strength would be high. So especially keep track on deadlines. Do not withdraw your applications after signing the pledge. I have informed you, like after the second screening, you are signing a pledge that you will not withdraw your applications. Please do not withdraw your applications after signing the pledge. That would be a black mark for Sri Lanka and also maybe for your academic record. And always provide true information, obviously. You can always contact the admissions office or international affairs office about any queries regarding the application process. They are always very helpful for helping us to properly prepare the applications. And some universities require an application fee payment. The application will be fee will be refunded if you will be selected for the scholarship. But anyway, first sometimes you have to pay. So be prepared. That fee varies from 10,000 to 30,000 Japanese yen. Some universities don't require to pay any application fee. And please check your emails regularly. They will communicate with you to clarify some issues, or like if they need further clarifications, they will contact you through emails. So please check your emails regularly if you have applied. And thank you very much. So I will be hoping your questions in the Q&A session, and you can always contact me through email or social media networks. So I will be happy to help you at any time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Utpala. I believe like a lot of students have heard about the mixed embassy scholarship, but very few has only heard about the university recommendation. So I believe that your presentation has been a huge benefit for the students and prospect scholarship appliers for Japan, to study in Japan. So thanks again. And I would like to move on with the next scholarship category, which is the Rotary Scholarship. So it will be presented by Ms. Jaini Sena Tilekar. She is a proud product of University of Peradeniya, Faculty of Arts, Department of English. And currently she's doing the master's program for Global Business Management in Major and University of Hugo, Department of Social Sciences. So Ms. Jaini.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible enough. Could you please share the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hi everyone, I am Jaini Narmada Sena Tilekar, and I'll be talking about the Rotary Yoneyama Scholarship today. So the Rotary Yoneyama Scholarship is provided by the Rotary Yoneyama Memorial Foundation in Japan. And you can apply to this scholarship while you are in Sri Lanka as an overseas applicant. And you can also apply to this scholarship as an international student in Japan while you are a student in Japan attending a university in Japan. So undergraduate students will receive 100,000 Japanese yen per month, and while master's and doctoral students will receive 140,000 Japanese yen per month. And if you're an overseas applicant, the foundation will reimburse your expenses, your travel expenses, including your connecting flight ticket fares and your expenses from like your domestic expenses from your home to the airport in Sri Lanka and from the airport in Japan to the accommodation on the first day in Japan. And they will also cover your accommodation expenses in Japan on the first day and also your visa fees. However, this scholarship does not cover your tuition expenses. As for the candidate qualifications, you need to be scheduled to enroll or transfer into a Japanese university or graduate school that is established under the Ministry of Education in Japan. And your intake could be April, September, or October. And you need to attend the regular courses, as in if you are a non-degree student, such as a research student or an exchange student, you are not eligible for this scholarship. And if you are an international student in Japan, you need to be attending the regular courses in a Japanese university or graduate school. And moving on to the eligibility criteria, as for nationality and visa, you should have a nationality other than Japanese. And if you are a dual nationality holder, one of them cannot be Japanese. And when you enter Japan, your visa status should be that of student. And until the time that you enter Japan to enroll in the education institution, you need to stay in your own country, not in Japan. As for the history of residency in Japan, if you have a long history of staying in Japan until the month the scholarship commences, then you are not eligible for the scholarship, except in these three specific circumstances. So the first one is, if your stay in Japan has not exceeded 1 month, then you can apply. And second, if your stay in Japan was due to family reasons, but that also limited to the completion of compulsory education, then you can apply. And third, if you resided in Japan under the Rotary Youth Exchange Program during high school, then you can apply. So except for these three special cases, if you have any other history of staying in Japan, you cannot apply for this scholarship. And as for the academic institution and admission, if you're an overseas applicant, you need to be planning to enter or transfer into a Japanese university or graduate school to attend regular courses, and you have to submit the letter of acceptance that you receive from university or an admission permit. Or if you are still in the process of applying to the university, you need to prove it with some kind of document like that you have applied to this university or that you are planning to sit the entrance examination of that university, some document like that. And if you're an international student in Japan, you need to be studying at a university that is specifically designated by the foundation, and you cannot apply directly to the foundation for the scholarship. You have to first apply through the university, and the university will direct you to the foundation. And as for the scholastic and health requirements, you need to be enthusiastic to study, and you need to be able to express yourself correctly, communicate smoothly, and you need to show that you're doing your best to understand the mission of the Yoneyama Foundation, and you need to have a clear future goal. You need to be aware of and respect cultural differences, and you need to possess good physical and mental health. So this stuff that I just told you might, like, one could think that these are not that important, but believe me when I say that the selection committee will stress on these qualities in the scholarship applicant during the screening process. So these are really important. You need to show that you possess these qualities throughout the selection process. And as for the eligibility, the field of study, all fields are eligible. And as for the Japanese language proficiency, if you're an overseas applicant, they expect you to have at least basic Japanese proficiency. And you need to show that you are trying to learn Japanese and making efforts to communicate in Japanese. And if you are an applicant already in Japan, you need to have much higher Japanese proficiency. And the applicant should be under 45 years old as of April 1st of the year that they'll be enrolled as a scholarship recipient. And you cannot receive any other scholarship while at the same time you are receiving the Rotary Yoneyama scholarship. But if you are receiving any tuition reduction or tuition exemption from the university or like a one-time research grant, they are allowed, but not any other regular scholarship. And if you want to receive the other scholarship, you need to cancel the Rotary scholarship. And if you have received the Rotary scholarship previously, you are not eligible to apply again. And as for the application documents, all these documents can be downloaded from the Rotary Foundation website, and I will share the link at the end of my presentation in the chat box. So the first is the application form, and the second is you need to submit a copy of the admission application that you submitted to your intended university or graduate school. And third is the research plan. For undergraduate students, the theme is your study plan in Japan. And for graduate students, if you are an overseas applicant, your research plan. And if you are an international student already in Japan, the current status of your research. And fourth is the scholarship essay themed your objective of studying in Japan. And fifth is a letter of recommendation for undergraduate students. It could be from your school, workplace, or the professor at the intended Japanese university. For graduate student, it should be from your prospective supervisor at the intended graduate school. And for both undergraduate and graduate students, the letter of recommendation should have the handwritten signature of the person who recommends it. And the sixth is a copy of the letter of acceptance. However, this doesn't need to be submitted initially, but you have to submit this at a later date once you receive it from your expected university by the deadline that the foundation gives you. And while these first 6 documents are mandatory, the 7th one, last one, if you have a JLPT exam certificate, you can submit it. It is recommended, but it is not mandatory to do so. And for overseas applicants, you have the option of completing the documents either in Japanese or English. And it is recommended to complete them in Japanese. And if you're an applicant already in Japan, you have to complete everything in Japanese. And if you are applying as an overseas applicant, if you are applying for more than one university or graduate school, you need to submit this whole set of documents. Like if you're, for example, if you are applying for 4 universities, you need to submit 4 sets of copies of all these documents. And if there's any false information in the documents, the scholarship will be cancelled. And if they find out the false information while you are already a scholarship recipient, your scholarship will be cancelled and you will have to pay back either partial or full scholarship, the amount that you have been receiving up to that point. Moving on to the selection process, it is for overseas applicants, it's generally based on document review, and incomplete applications will not be considered further during the selection process. And if the selection committee decides that they need to know more information, they might conduct online interviews, or they might contact either the applicant or the supervisor from the recommendation letter via telephone or email to do some questions. And in the case of applicants who are already enrolled in and residing in Japan, you have to first go through the university recommendation, and then the documents will be forwarded to the foundation. And after the document screening, you have to face an interview in Japanese. And there are some guidelines that the scholarship recipients have to follow once they are accepted as scholarship recipients. So you have to arrive in Japan by the date that is given by the foundation. And once you submit your arrival schedule to the foundation, you are not allowed to change it. And if you are unable to enter Japan by the designated date, you will lose eligibility. And if you are an international student in Japan, you have to attend the orientation program in order to be formally accepted as a scholarship recipient. And the foundation expects you to demonstrate enthusiasm and excellent background in academics, intercultural understanding, and communication skills. And they expect you to experience the Japanese culture and customs through participating in different social activities and different district activities. So moving on to the characteristics of the scholarship. This scholarship does not only provide financial support to you, but also personal support. So what I mean by that is, once you become a scholarship recipient, you will be assigned a Seva club, a Rotary club in your district. And in that Seva club, you will be assigned a counselor, a person on whom you can rely on for anything, and like any academic issues that you're facing or any daily life struggles, anything, basically anything. So they will be like either your mother or father in Japan, like basically your family. So, and the scholars are expected to attend this SEVA club meetings at least once a month. And you will have to do presentations and give speeches at the regular meetings. And twice a year, you have to submit a report written in Japanese about your studies to the foundation. And in addition to these, you have to attend like Rotary district activities, basically like social activities. And another thing about this scholarship is that even after your term as a Yoneyama scholar ends, you can continue to interact with the alumni association. So you can still participate in those social activities by the Rotary clubs or other Rotary organizations. And so that this is in the case of Japan. And if you like once you go back to Sri Lanka, there are also like alumni associations in 33 countries, including Sri Lanka. So you can continue to be part of the Rotary Club either in Japan or in Sri Lanka. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you so much for listening. And if you need to know more about the scholarship, you can email me through this email address, or you can also like find me on social media. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jani. So next up is the JDS scholarship. We have to mention that the JDS scholarship is specifically for the government officials, and the presentation would be conducted by Mr. Ravindra Vijayanayake. He is currently the Deputy Director of the Department of Pensions. If I do tell his education background, he has conducted his Bachelor of Science in ICT in Vajradhara University and a Master's in University of Peradeniya. Also, he has conducted the Master of Public Policy in Meiji University in Tokyo. And I would like to invite Mr. Ravindra Vijayanayake to go with the presentation of the JDS scholarship.
Good afternoon. I hope I'm audible and visuals are clear.
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity, and it's a pleasure to be here to deliver a presentation regarding JDS scholarship. So, as you introduced me, I am Ravindra Vijayanayake, and I was a JDS scholar in 2020 and returned to Sri Lanka in last year. So, let me to go forward. At this presentation, I would like to deliver my presentation as two parts. First one is overview of JDS, and under that, what is JDS, about JDS and operating committee, structures of JDS in Sri Lanka, as well as why JDS and what are the benefits, awards of this scholarship program. And the second part, I would talk about how to apply for the scholarship program, and the eligibility and the selection process will be discussed. What is JDS? JDS is the project for Human Resource Development Scholarship by Japanese Grant Aid. So it is from people of Japan, and it is a full scholarship program funded by the government of Japan through official development assistance by Japanese taxpayers. And it is for young government officials. It completely targets for the young government officials, and there are two scholarships for 2 years master's course at Japanese universities taught in English, and 3-year PhD course also available. Then the scholarship by Japanese official development assistance, the JDS has been started from 1999. So far, around 5,000 fellows has been sent to Japan from 19 different countries, including Sri Lanka. And JDS started in Sri Lanka in 2020. So far, 188 fellows have been chosen for the JDS scholarship, including PhD students. The objective of this scholarship is to support human resource development in Sri Lanka, as well as to enhance bilateral relationships between Sri Lanka and Japan. And JDS targets at highly capable officials who are expected to be engaged in and implement social and economic development plans and become future leaders in Sri Lanka. So the JDS targets at highly capable government officials. So the JDS fellows will study in Japan and return back to Sri Lanka to their organization and develop social and economic development plans for the betterment of our country. And let me to talk about the operating committee of the JDS program. The operating committee consists from Japan side as well as Sri Lanka side. From the Japan side, Embassy of Japan in Sri Lanka and Japan International Cooperating Agency or JICA sits from their side. And from Sri Lanka side, the Department of External Resources under the Ministry of Finance, it chairs the committee, and Ministry of Public Administration, provincial councils and local government. Along with that, Public Services Commission and Ministry of Education are in the operating committee. And the duties of the operating committee is the decision making of JDS program and decisions of accepting universities, execution and management of selection, and decision on candidates, etc. And the Japan International Cooperation Center, or the JICE, is the agent to implement JDS project that supports provision of JDS information and recruitment and selection support, briefing the orientation service, and support services in Japan, payment services of scholarship, etc. will be managed by the Japan International Cooperation Center. So the structure of JDS program in Sri Lanka, so it is basically building a strong base for inclusive and sustained economic growth. For that, there are three components: public policy, economics, and urban and regional development. For the public policy component, there are two universities offered scholarships for under the JDS program. They are Meiji University and International University of Japan. Each university offers 2 slots for public policy component. And for the economics component, there are 3 sub-components. Macroeconomic studies, International University of Japan offers 2 slots, and public finance and investment management, Hiroshima University offers 2 slots, and industry development policy and investment promotion, Nagoya University offers 2 slots. Apart from that, urban and regional development, Tsukuba University offers 2 slots and Tokyo University offers 1 slot. Altogether, there are 15 slots for master's studies in Japan under the JDS program. So, why JDS? JDS offers plenty of benefits. Through these are the summary of that: the full scholarship, strong support for your life in Japan, and it is very easy to apply and specialized in the training of government officers. So let me to talk about the awards of the JDS program. Full scholarship to support fellow study and living in Japan. Under that, the full tuition fees, airfare, arrival allowance, accommodation allowance, monthly scholarship, allowance for purchasing books, allowance for shipping, allowance for seminars, overseas travel insurance. Apart from that, support from JICE for finding accommodation, initial settlement of your life in Japan, and monitoring services. And whenever we need their assistance, JICE will be there for our support. And enrichment programs of JDS, that is field trip, arrival training course, and JDS joint program, along with Asian government leaders networking event also available. And how to apply for JDS scholarship? So the eligibility has summarized by this chart. So the nationality, the applicants must be citizens of Sri Lanka, and the age is below the age of 40 as 1st of April in the particular year of this dispatch. and academic background, completed the undergraduate level or the bachelor's degree. And the target group is, as I mentioned earlier, the executives or senior executives mentioned in the Public Administration Circular number 6 of 2006. And apart from that, BOI staffs and NBRO, Environmental Authority, Water Board, WMA staff also can apply. And all these officers must be confirmed in their service and they completed the probation period and eligible for the confirmation. Along with that, the English proficiency should have a good command of both written and spoken English at graduate level. Moreover, health condition should be sound mind and body, and if applicant need to take and pass all medical checkup prior to the technical interview. This medical checkup is arranged by JDS Project Office, and applicant who cannot take or pass the medical checkup, those people will be disqualified from the scholarship program. And moreover, the applicants are expected to have special interest in studying in Japan, as well as motivation to utilize their experience and human network developed through the JDS in their career. And military persons and currently awarded or scheduled to receive another scholarship or has obtained a master or higher degree from overseas under the support of foreign scholarship are ineligible to apply for this JDS program. And this is the selection process. So the application will be called in mid-September to mid-November and should apply through the organization or the ministry of the particular employees working. And at the first selection, IELTS and maths test will be conducted. Along with that, the document screening by Japanese universities will be there. And the second selection is the technical interview by Japanese universities. The shortlisted candidates will be called for the technical interview by Japanese universities. And the third selection, the selected candidates will be called for the third selection, and that interview is a comprehensive interview by operating committee members. This is the descriptive information about the selection process. At the English and Maths test have no criteria, but the results of the English and Maths test will be used as reference in the selection. At the first selection, document screening by the accepting universities, the criteria is academic records and background, possibility of future contribution with learned knowledge, and research plan, relevance between research plan and sub-program or the component. And the intent of and purpose of the first selection is applicants' basic knowledge, ability to academic background, and fitness to the university course. At the second selection, the technical interview by the accepting universities, the criteria are the academic background and learning ability, capacity for completing the study in Japan, and possibility of contributing to the development, compatibility to the university course. And the intent and purposes of the second selection is the academic knowledge, candidates' ideas of research plan and communication skills, logical thinking, etc. At the comprehensive interview by the operating committee or the third selection, it concerns the capacity for completing the study in Japan and strengthening the bilateral relationship. Along with that, the capacity to utilize outcomes of the study over the long term and possibility of contributing to the development of the country. And other points are the capacity of future contribution, purpose of study in Japan, and career plan after the study are also considered at the third selection or the comprehensive interview. And in this slide, I talk about the important things here. Before going to Japan, JDS fellows must submit a JDS pledge to commit to follow JDS rules. And during the staying in Japan, after 3 months from the arrival, fellows can bring their families. Fellows are prohibited from working, driving, and applying for other scholarships while you are staying in Japan. And fellows must finish studies within the predetermined period and return to Sri Lanka. After returning to Sri Lanka, JDS fellows must attend the reporting session held by the operating committee, and fellows must work within Sri Lanka at least 8 years in their ministries or organizations to contribute to the development of Sri Lanka. So if you need to get more information about JDS scholarship, you can go through the jdsscholarship.org, the official website of the JDS Sri Lanka. And in that website, you can find application guidelines, application form, IELTS information and past maths test, and some university information also. And that is the end of my presentation. And thank you very much for your kind attention. And if you have any questions to clarify, I'm happy to share my experience and relevant things at the Q&A session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ravindra, for your presentation. So up next is the final scholarship category that we will be discussing today. That will be the ADB scholarship. It will be presented to you by Mr. Sachinta Fernando. Mr. Sachinta is a proud product of University of Moratuwa, a BSc in Civil Engineering, and currently he's doing the Master of Engineering at the International Graduate Program on Civil and Environmental Engineering at the Saitama University. So, Mr. Sachinta.
I hope everybody can hear me.
Of course, please proceed.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sachinta, and I'm a ADB JSP scholar in receiver in year 2022, and currently I'm a master student of Saitama University. So I will be present about the Asian Development Bank and Japan Scholarship Program, which is known as ADB and JSP. So what is ADB and JSP scholarship? It aims to provide an opportunity for well-qualified citizens of ADB developing members countries to undertake graduate studies in economics, management, science and technology, and other development-related fields at participating academic institutions in the Asia and Pacific region. So this is not only to Japan, it is also, you can apply this scholarship for the Asia and Pacific other countries also. So what does this scholarship covers? It is a full scholarship and it is a very prestigious scholarship. I think it covers all your financial aspect of your study. If you selected in a Japanese university, they will pay you all the tuition fees and monthly allowance of 147,000 yen per month, and allowance for books and other instructional materials. It is like around 100,000 yen per year, and thesis and research allowance around 45,000 yen per year, and it also covers medical insurance, and it also give you air ticket fare, arrival and return from Japan. So mostly ADB JSP scholarship given for the master's student, but sometimes there is occasionally PhD student also can apply for the ADB JSP scholarship. So the maximum duration of the scholarship is 2 years for the master student. And as I said, their major field of studies are science and technology, economic business management and business and management, development studies, and law and public policy. And there are 29 partner institutions across Asia and Pacific. Out of them, 15 are located inside the Japan, 15 universities. So if you apply for a ADB JSP scholarship, you need to apply for out of this 29 university. You need to choose one out of this 29. So if you are like to study in Japan, there are 15 of them, and I think it's almost all the universities inside the Japan. So what are the eligibility requirements? You need to be a national of an ADB borrowing member and not hold dual citizenship of any developed country. and you need to have you need to gain an admission to a approved master's course at a designated institution, and hold a bachelor's degree or equivalent with superior academic record. And you need to have at least 2 years full-time professional working experience, which is acquired after your university degree at the time of the application. And the candidate must have proficiency in oral and English, written English communication skills. And the age limit is 35 years old at the time of application. And you need to be in good health. And the main condition, one of the main condition in ADB JSP scholarship is you need to agree to return and work in your home country for at least 2 years after completion of the studies. This is this is a condition that they will ask you to agree, and you cannot be a staff of ADB or JSP designated institutions, and if you are currently living outside the country, or if you are already in Japan, you cannot apply for this scholarship. So you need to be in your home country, and also you cannot currently enroll in any graduate degree program. So the application procedure of ADB JSP is not very complicated. So the ADB, like for the application procedure, you are not dealing with ADB or ADB. So the application process will be handled by the university and the ADB. After you submit the application, university will be communicated with ADB about your scholarship. So first, you need to select a program out of that 29 designated institution. If you apply for, if you like to apply in Japan, there are 15 of them. So you need to, out of that 15 institution, you need to select that program which is under the economics, management, health, education, agriculture, environment, natural resource management, science and technology, or other development related field. This is cover wide range. So you need to select one of this program. Then you can start your application procedure. First, you need to get the application, which is required by the university. So this the first steps you can get you can refer the institute you're going to apply. Most of the time the website have the application and the guideline for the application process which is need to submit. So first you can download the application and you can fill it. So then you for the ADB JSP scholarship, addition to your application for the postgraduate program, you need to fill the ADB and JSP information sheet, which is you can download from the ADB JSP website. So when you are filling the application form for the program, they will ask you, do they need to consider you for a scholarship? You can say yes, and so sometimes they will ask which scholarship, so you can specify ADB JSP scholarship. So along with the application which you are submitting for the university, you can submit the ADB JSP information sheet, and the ADB JSP information sheet asks you 2 additional document, which is certificate of employment with your monthly or annual income, and the certificate of family income. So you can submit all these documents with your application for the university program. Then the institution evaluate and decide on admission and applicant. Then they will send their recommendation to the shortlist candidates to the ADB. Then ADB review the submission from the institutions. Then ADB recommends awardees based on their selection criteria, and they inform back to the university that the university of the selected candidate. Then institution inform all the scholars who receive the scholarship with the results of your application for the program too. So in this process, you are not dealing with ADB. Only the university will handle your application process, scholarship process. So for the deadline, there is no common deadline for the ADB scholarship, which is in most cases, it will be the deadline of their application, deadline of the program you are going to apply. So you need to refer the program websites for the deadline. So you can find all the information related, which I talk about before in the ADB JSP scholarship website. And this is the website which is I'm currently studying international graduate program on civil and environmental engineering. Under this, in this website, you can find the deadlines of your application process. So like that, you can refer all the other institution and get your deadlines. And informations and tips. So you can search for chosen part academic institution with your preferable course. And I had recommend to gather information from friends, seniors who applied to ADB JSP scholarship or a university in Japan. And if you have a question, do not hesitate to contact foreign student office or the admission office of the respective university. And some program need to write for a professor. If so, you can write them about yourself and research interest. And then you can start your online application. So as everyone says, be more serious with deadline and start early and be cautious when filling application forms. And I recommend to start at least the process 1 month before and prepare and gather all the supporting document early as possible. For example, update a CV, academic transcript, recommendation letters, certificate of employment, and so on. Write an attractive and informative essay in the university application form. They will ask your field of study in the past, your proposed plan of study, and etc. Better to take an English proficiency test in advance and try to get 2 strong recommendation letters. I suggest to get one from your previous academic supervisor. And take much care while answering the following questions in the ADB JSP sheet. They will ask why the scholarship will provide most of your financial requirement during the study period. What other additional resources do you have if you may need them? And they will ask again, why do you want to take this particular area of study at this institution? And I also need to mention that ADB JSP scholarship is very competitive, and I strongly recommend you to apply other scholarship, which is at the same time, because you know that when you are applying a scholarship, if you not get it, you need to wait for another 6 or 12 months to apply another. So I strongly recommend you to apply other scholarship if available at the same time. So this is the end of my presentation. And if you have any question, I would like to answer it in the Q&A session. And thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sachinta. So with that presentation, we'll be winding up all the presenters of different kind of scholarship opportunities that you can get in Japan. And now we are going to start with the Q&A session. So if you have any questions to ask from the presenters or else as from the distinguished guests who are gathered here, it is now time for you to raise any question. Please raise your hand and we'll allow you to communicate with the panel and the presenters. Okay, our first question is from Nisha. Please, Nisha, you can raise your question.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, of course. You're audible enough.
I need to raise a question regarding the Rotary Scholarship. So you have mentioned that Japanese language proficiency is needed. So is it possible to have only the JLPT, or is NATIS acceptable for the Japanese language proficiency?
Thank you so much, Ms. Nisha. Ms. Jayani?
Yeah, so I'm sorry, but I'm not sure about the exact qualification that they are asking you to submit. The website only mentions JLPT, so I guess it's better to have JLPT, but at the same time, the JLPT proficiency test certificate is not a mandatory document. So I guess as long as you can communicate in Japanese, that would be adequate. Yeah, I'm sorry for not being specific with the answer.
Thank you, Ms. Jani, and thank you, Ms. Nisha, for the question. Does anyone else have any kind of question? You can use either languages. You can raise your question in Sinhala, in English. Either is fine for us. Okay, so till the time, so we have questions from our Facebook live chat. So the first question is directly asked from Professor J. Rajasekar. So a person is asking, are there any sports-related masters in Japan and your university? And
yeah, that's a good question. In fact, there are, and even PhDs maybe, and in schools. And you have to find a school which is, has that kind of programs. I don't know much about the TIU. In TIU, we have kind of scholarships and that kind of things on sports for undergraduate, I know. And we have some foreigners also doing there, and competing in those things, and the golf, and also some football scholarships exist. And so depending, I haven't checked into the masters in TIU on this subject, but definitely undergraduate they have, and so maybe the person who asked the question can check in, to TIU website, and I gave the link, and then explore, the scholarships. We have a very vibrant sports program. And that's so possible. And if there are good ones, and then of course you can get something here, sports scholarship.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
Is someone else possible to answer? Because the question asks, is there sports-related masters in Japan? Which I believe also there are many, but specifically we need to find the related course, the universities which offer the particular course. Right. So you have to go through maybe through the websites and find. And I hope that question was answered. Thank you, Professor. Thanks again.
Yeah.
And we have another question, which is, it is mainly targeting from JASO, Shinboku-san. The question is, are there PhD scholarships available for candidates who are above 35 years of age, around 36 to 37 years?
Yes, I would say so, but yes, please check for the scholarship for our website. I mean, yeah, there should be some scholarship without the age of limit. But I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure about the details of each scholarship. But yes, there should be some. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. And there's another question which is also regarding the age limitation. It also asks, like, maybe I think Mr. Ravindra could answer this. They ask about, is there any scholarship available for government officials above 35 years old who are actively engaged in scientific research in biological sciences?
Basically, the JDS program does not cover the biological science or those kind of disciplines, but there are plenty of scholarship opportunities even in Japan and other countries also. And even the person who are we are government employee, he can I mean, even he is a government employee or not, if he has to have a sound academic background, he can apply for the, I think, the ADB or the scholarship programs discussed this session also are also eligible to apply such kind of scholarship programs. Apart from that, some Chevening scholarships in UK and some Australia Award scholarships and such kind of scholarships are also available. Apart from that, I found the one scholarship brochure in JASO website. There are all the list available. The list is available. All the scholarships provided by different kind of organizations and institutions for different kind of subject areas. So I suggest that person to go through the websites and Google it. Then he will be able to find out much more information regarding his question. I think that kind of answer I can give at the moment.
Thank you so much. Is there any panelist or like anyone who have some kind of different thought of about the question or some kind of different answer? Maybe.
Can I propose?
Yes, Professor, please.
Yeah, my own experience is, I think if you apply for a graduate program, I believe anywhere, and also if you have the age doesn't really much matter if you have a good record, as the gentleman just mentioned, and these days there are a lot of applicants applying from China, India, and they have list of publications, already. And so you are competing with them, So to do that, I think you need some good credentials. And so in some countries, like United States, some programs exist. If you do some exam called GRE exam.
Yeah.
And so if you do very well in GRE and get a very high score, and you don't have to do anything, in fact, the universities find you and ask you to apply. And so that's how it works. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you so much. There's another question in the chat list. It's open question for everyone. It asks the question is raised from Mr. Pradeep. It's I'm currently doing an MPhil. Is it considered as a valid postgraduate degree when applying for a PhD? Can any presenter or I suppose
if anybody there, I can answer this question too. Yeah, in fact, MPhil or MA, Masters, and they not always required, to get into a PhD program. And if you have good record, in undergraduate level, and you can directly get in, to a university. You may not get into the PhD program, but you may get into a master's if you don't have a master's. But the MPhil doesn't prevent you from getting into a PhD program. And because it's a 2-year degree, I think if it is legitimate 2-year, the 1.5 years or whatever, from a good university, then no problem. In my experience.
I'm sorry, but you have another question, Professor. Is there any science-related undergraduate or master's degree program in TIU?
Yeah, we have.
Mhm.
Yeah, several. The undergraduate, the science means we don't have like chemistry or those kind of things, though. If you when you say science, but if you're thinking about maybe computer science, or sometimes they call financial engineering, that type of things, we can accommodate those kind of people.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
So we have another question from Deshani, and I suppose her question could be answered by Miss Jaini, because she's also related with English learning. So Miss Deshani asked, are there any English literature related master's program in Japan, basically regarding English language? Because I'm a first year student in University of Jawaharlal.
I see. So initially, I was also honestly looking for English related masters in Japan, but I guess if you want to do a master's in English, it's better to choose a country like the UK or the USA, because I couldn't find any program that I found. How do I say?
Specifically for English, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. So we have another question. It is can I apply for several scholarship at the same time? I believe Mr. Utpala can answer for that, because in his presentation, he mentioned that applying for several scholarships. So.
Okay, so I think you can apply, but if you are being in the case of mixed scholarship, I know about the university recommendation. By the time you will be nominated for the scholarship to the Japanese government, you should withdraw all the other scholarships. You cannot receive more than one scholarship if you are having nominated by the Japanese government scholarship. So that's the case, but you can apply still. So, but the in the sense of Japanese government scholarship university track, you cannot apply for the same scholarship from different program. So I mentioned that. So only one university, one program, you have to be nominated for this. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Utpala. So we have another question, and it is from Chaminda Karnaratna. It's for Professor J. Dear Professor J, what are the entry criteria for digital business bachelor? How many students you enroll for a batch, and how many international students is available for one batch?
In fact, as any other university in Japan, the university enrollment numbers are controlled by the ministry, I believe, and so we have some quotas, and but we can accommodate, I think, large number of students, and so if you are qualified, you don't have to worry much about it, and so it's not limited by the cap, we call by the cap, but your qualifications, and if you're undergraduate, and you want, if you want to do undergraduate, if you have good qualifications, then that is the number one criteria to get selected.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah.
There's another question for Professor, and also I believe Mr. Shimboku can also answer this question. A student has asked, he's now facing A-level examination this year, and if I intend to put pending results and ask for a scholarship as an undergraduate student, what should I do? Is that possible for me to do that, or is it must after my A-level results are published or announced?
Okay. I think that today there are many presenters who introduced the scholarship, and there are other scholarships in JASO's list. And I think I should mention that the many of the scholarship in the list of the website of JASO. Many of them are for the students who are in the university, which means you have to be a university. You have to be a student first, and then apply for the scholarship. So that you should mention that case. Yes.
Thank you so much. Okay, Mashita. So another question is, are there any opportunities for someone with a bachelor's degree in Japanese language and JLPT N2 level to go to Japan for masters and further study Japanese language? It's a question from Ms. Harini Fernando. I'll repeat the question. She asked, like, are there any opportunity for someone with a bachelor's degree in Japanese language and JLPT N2 level to go to Japan for masters and to continue further studies in Japanese language?
You mean this? Yes, you mean the scholarship for the Japanese language institute? I think. So yes. Yeah, I would say that very few. I would say yes. Yeah, very few. There are. Yeah, very few. I would say yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. And also, there's another question from Ms. Dulini. Are there any degree courses related to art streams? I believe so. It's an open question from anyone, any presenter. Are there any degrees related to art stream?
Can I?
Yes, Professor, please.
When they say arts, it means that the arts track in advanced level is.
I believe yes, Professor.
Yeah. In fact, our university accept them, and if you have good qualifications, and we get good students, and they are from Sri Lanka in there, from good schools in Sri Lanka, and so I heard they are doing well in that UN, that club I mentioned in my presentation. And so we have scholarship, but they are called international relations. Mostly they join that track, international relations. And so they can find jobs in the diplomatic kind of jobs. And it depends, how you navigate, in the undergraduate program. And so in Japan, it's a little bit flexible, even an arts degree, you can learn some technical things, if you are good at it, and get a technical job, And we have in our school, I think we consider them.
Thank you, Professor. And the question from Deshani is also regarding the International Relations Degrees Program. I believe in the previous presentation, it was mentioned that International University of Japan has an International Relations Degree Program. And we would also like to know about these questions from Dr. Don Jaman, who is always been us with programs and everything, who has a really good experience in Japan as a professor. So, sir, we would also like to know any shares or comment regarding these questions from you. Dr. Don Jayamana, sir, are you with us?
Yes. Yes. In fact, I have put my question on the chat box to JASO. My question is, I think it's something like, common question. You mentioned that the scholarships, Japanese scholarships, the rankings are first China, second Vietnam, and third Nepal, and Sri Lanka is seventh. And I can understand about China and Vietnam because the population and especially to Vietnam, recent foreign relations. But are there any specialty for Nepal? Because I can see for education as well as for business. So, for example, all the restaurants now are in Japan are from Nepal. So, is there any specialty or like Sri Lanka, we have to get some, advisors how to handle to get the rank to go forward? This is my question.
Yes, thank you very much for the question. And yes, I mentioned the number of international students. Yes, I mentioned the not for the recipients of scholarship, but just for the the student residing in Japan. Of course, yes, the first is China, and second is Vietnam, and the third is Nepal. Yes, and it used to be there was a Korea and or Taiwan is very it used to be the first is China and the second is Korea and the third is Taiwan, but the Korea and Taiwan are decreasing, and I think that the reason is for them is just for they have the they don't have to study abroad. I mean, they can study in their own country, but in Nepal, they don't really have enough institutions to in their own countries. And I heard from a professor that in Nepal, the Nepalese students think Japan is much cheaper than going to the United States or something. That's like I said, and the Nepal is closer to travel, but I think but the Sri Lanka, I do hope that Sri Lanka would be much more to push the number, but yes, I don't have any special opinion about Nepal. I mean, not really different from Sri Lanka, I would say. That is, can I answer your question?
Thank you, Mr. Shingoku, and thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. So we have another question from, I think it's supposed to go to Mr. Utpala. The question is, for University Recommendation Max Scholarship for Master's Degree in University of Tokyo, forget the scholarship, either high graduate entrance examination result and undergraduate degree GPA matters. Which matters most? Is it the GPA or the graduate entrance examination results?
Graduate entrance exam. So sorry, for the university recommendation, we don't have to write an entrance exam. Only there is interview process. Usually for the scholarship, there will be like thorough and maybe like 30 minutes, around 30 minutes interview, in which you will be checked for your motivations, your research proposals, and maybe maybe they will ask some challenging questions. So only that is that usually in some universities they mention that interview as the entrance examination. So we don't have to write any written exam or anything. But I think in the selection of your application, and it is a highly competitive scholarship, obviously. So your application should be strong. So GPA matters, and maybe if you are not, maybe you have a less, maybe a little down side in your GPA, maybe you can catch up this by your publications or maybe the English language test results. So you can always have a balance between. So if you don't hesitate to apply if you don't have that much of good GPA. I have known that maybe some of my friends have they don't have that much of great GPA of first class or second upper. So I myself didn't have a first class, but I could secure the university recommendation. So most importantly, the research proposal and maybe the GPA also, publications and English language test results will be important. So no entrance exam.
Okay, thank you so much. So Mr. Ravindra has shared us a list of scholarship where you can apply, and we will be putting it in the chat very soon. And thank you, Mr. Ravindra, for that one. And thank you, Mr. Utpala, again for your answer. And there's another question. So there's a question, it's open question. It asks like, can I know after completing a master's program, can we find a relative career opportunities related to our study field in Japan? It's an open question. Mr. Shimboku, do you have any ideas or thoughts on that one?
I don't really have a special answer, but still, yes, I think these days many Japanese company are offering a job opportunity to international students. So yes, I think there will be a much more chance than before. Yes.
Thank you so much. So due to the time constraint that we have quite a lot of questions popping out. So we would like you all to suggest that through our Facebook page and also through our emails, it's possible for you to contact our presenters or even our distinguished guests over here. And I would go with the last question today because we don't have much time during our agenda. So it's from Professor J. Is it possible to apply for TIU undergraduate course in English medium for IT or engineering for a student planning to come to Japan as a dependent of her father?
Dependent of a father? Yeah, of course. We have several of them right now. A lot of the people, who work in Japan, and they have sent their kids here, and they are the sponsors. And it's quite common. And so, some well-known people's children are here.
Thank you.
So we welcome, definitely.
Thank you so much. Yeah. So thank you. With that, we would like to wind up our session today. And before winding up, I would like to thank several distinguished guests, and starting off with the Ambassador, His Excellency, Mr. E. Rodney M. Pereira. Thank you, sir. You have always been our inspiration and guidance behind all the programs of Sri Lanka Student Association so far. Thank you for guiding us and always molding us and to helping the Sri Lankans in Japan throughout your career and lifetime. Thank you, sir. And next, I would like to thank Miss Sesa Tambugala, who's the Deputy Chief of Mission Minister in the Embassy, and Ms. Achini Pereira, the Minister Counselor, and also Mr. Kapila Kumara, the First Secretary Commissioner, and all the members from the Embassy of Sri Lanka. Thank you for joining with us today and for always guiding and helping us in our events. So next, I would like to thank Professor J. Rajasekara for attending today and giving the presentation and answering the questions. Thank you, sir. And Dr. Panduka Neluvala, who joined us today from the Japan-Sri Lanka Studies Center. And of course, from the two representatives from JASO, Mr. Kenji Shimboku and Mr. Akira Kawaguchi. Thank you so much. Otsukaresama deshita. Thank you for the program and your wonderful presentation on JASO. And I would like to thank each and every one of our presenters, Mr. Ravindra Vijayanayaka, who was from Meiji University, and Miss Pumi Silva from University of Tokyo, Mr. Utpala Kaushalya from Hokkaido University, Ms. Janice Senatilaka from University of Hyogo, Mr. Sachinta Fernando from Saitama University, for your presentations and for sharing your thoughts, experiences, which I believe that was very helpful for all the prospect candidates who are willing to apply for scholarships in Japan and to proceed their career in Japan. Thank you so much for your time and effort and for joining in us today. Lastly, I would like to thank all the organizing committee and the Sri Lanka Student Association of Japan's Executive Committee, especially our president, Mr. Kasuntal Gaskotua, for his tiring effort, dedication, and commitment on coordinating everyone. And would like to thank you, all the Executive Committee members. And finally, if I have missed anyone during my speech, I would like to thank Sir, please.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, but I think it'll be extremely useful if we can put these links in your website and Facebook, and the embassy can also mirror it. I think this will be an incredibly important resource base for the Sri Lankan community. And also, may I suggest that we do a follow-up maybe closer to the deadlines. I think everyone, all the presenters discuss about the timelines for applications. So let's do another social media campaign to get the message out there. And the embassy would be very happy to work with JASO, Professor Jay, and all the other presenters so that we have more information. And I think it's the lack of information that's not, getting more Sri Lankans to apply. I think that was the question of Dr. Jama, and I think there's a lot more pushing we have to do. So let's work together to develop this in a summarized form with the necessary links. And the embassy, as I said, we can link and we can work very closely with the Japanese embassy in Colombo also to promote these programs within a wider Sri Lankan community. That's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your suggestion. And yes, we will proceed with that, and it will be very much beneficial for everyone from Sri Lanka, where we have gathered a good database of resources from different universities, like different scholarships. So we will proceed with that. Thank you so much for your suggestion, sir. And so I would like to wind up today's session. And if I missed anyone's name who have supported us in succeeding this event, thank you so much for all the support and the guidance given to us to make this event a success. So before winding up, we would like to take a picture with all the participants and presenters and our chief guest. And also we would like, if you are a participant, if you're willing to, you can switch on the camera and join us with this. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'll be clicking the picture in. Thank you. So, okay, 1, 2, 3. One more.
You didn't say cheese.
1, 2, 3, cheese. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you all for your support, and thank you for joining in with us. We hope you got the information that you need. And as the ambassador guided us, we will make a follow-up in the social media as well as a good database using this in our page as well as in the page of embassy. Thank you so much. Wish you all a pleasant day and a good week.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks
Good job.
a lot.
Good job. Good job.
Well done.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's catch up next time.
Sure, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. See you. Adios.
Thank you, Mr. Shimbuk.